shooting down in the woods. He wouldn't leave it even if he could. 'Cause life is good, yeah!
Hickok45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills, windy hills today, of Middle Tennessee. Yes, the home of Dolly Parton, Alvin York, Davy Crockett, and others that we're proud of. So, it's one of those afternoons on a Labor Day weekend. Thought I'd come out to the reloading room, where I've been a lot today, actually, and yak at you a little bit. You guys are sick enough to listen to it. I'm sick enough to yak at you, I guess, about something. I'm not sure what. Actually, I've got a few things I can talk about, I think. And I'm sure some others will come to mind. So, do whatever you're doing, and I'll just talk a little bit. Reloading room rambling, as I've begun to call it. One, of course, nice thing about doing this is I don't have to worry about being a professional as other radio hosts are. This is really just fireside chat from the reloading room that we call a radio show. I can be virtually unprofessional and just do whatever I want. That's the cool thing about being your own publisher, isn't it? It's pretty neat that we don't have the gatekeepers anymore in the well, I guess you'd say the publishing industry. Publishing meaning anything really that you want to put out there, whether it's on Twitter or a forum, a YouTube, blog. We can say, write, create a video, whatever we want to, any one of us, and post it. Say what we like, demonstrate what we like, and throw it out there. And see who wants to watch it or listen to it or read it. As I've said before, it's a great thing, and it's also maybe a bad thing in some cases. I don't know. It's hard to really, I guess, say there's a negative side to it, other than some of the goofy stuff or junk or obnoxious, obscene stuff that does show up, of course. And I don't know if you call it public. You sort of have to go look for it, maybe. Or you stumble across it when you're looking for something of quality. It's hard, the trolls and all that kind of stuff. They mingle in there amongst the rest of us, but at least temporarily before they get deleted and blocked or something. I don't know, but it's a good thing, really. It's wow. Talk about democracy. You just can't shut things up anymore. You really can't. I mean, those gatekeepers just are really not there, except in some venues. I guess the biggest advantage of the gatekeepers and approaching the big gates, the big golden gates, where the traditional venues are, I guess, whether it's a magazine or a TV station or whatever you might think about there, is that some of those venues and outlets still have a lot of prestige and a serious following. And so, for example, if you can get your article published in Guns and Ammo or American Handgun or something there, or a blog entry, an article you write or something is there, it's still prestigious and guaranteed that a fair number of people are going to see it. So the gatekeepers maybe are not there at every turn anymore, but some of those gatekeepers, and the gatekeeper, I guess we use that in a derogatory sense to some extent, keeping folks from publishing their material. But the other side of that is they still do offer a channel that is very viable, but the world has become fragmented, as I may have discussed before, and you all know. It's just a totally different world from when you and I, many of you, I say you and I, many of you are much younger than I am, but if you're over 40, maybe, I don't know what age, but if you've grown up your early years when there were 3 TV stations, and there was just no way to get published anything. Publish an article, publish a book, be on TV, whatever it was, unless you I don't know, it had to be something pretty significant that you did or that you got through somehow to have a really quality product you put together, and even get people to look at it. That's the thing. And I guess it's still that case, in a lot of ways. If you have a book you've written, you, I guess, like to still get it published by a major publishing house and get them to read it and look at it, and that's not easy. Sure, you can stick it on the internet somewhere, and I understand there's lots of ebook publishers and that sort of thing. Promote it yourself. You may, I guess, not get the audience you want. Maybe eventually you will if it's good. I know at least one person that does that. Thought about it myself, but anyway, it's a different world. There's so fragmented in terms of the outlets, the TV stations. I look at my students, and I think half of the TV shows they watch I probably have not even heard of. A lot of the radio stations they listen to, the cable channels they might watch, I might not even be aware of. It's just a different world. Whereas when I was young, if you watched TV, everybody in the family generally watched one of the three channels there together. You didn't have 40 TVs either, and you all watched Bonanza together. I guess that was Sunday night. I forgot what, or Gunsmoke, or just whatever. And I've confessed to folks many times one reason that so many people in my generation are cowboy nuts is that we grew up watching the Westerns, of course, and then Saturday morning there were several of them, and it wasn't like it is today where you would have to search them out. You would have to have the Westerns channel or find them on A&E or somewhere and even know they're there. And if you're 12 years old or 10 or 15, you're very unlikely to ever run across a Western probably, on the television. That's my guess. Whereas when I was 12, it would have been hard to miss them. That's what was on, vast majority. And so, and we all watched it together. And it was good, I thought, because, it was more of a family adventure. And maybe Mom wasn't that crazy about watching Gunsmoke and some of the things. People had fewer choices, right? But we all had that common culture, which was probably good in the long run. We all had, the same experiences. And then, too, most of those shows that were on, and I guess most today, not all, that's for sure. There's some weird stuff out there. But most of those shows, whether it's Bonanza or Gunsmoke, the half-hour series, even if they were shoot-'em-ups, whatever they were, the good guys won. There was a lesson. Not just in who won by the end of the show or who came out on top. The bad guy usually got his comeuppance and all that, but it's just the little pearls of wisdom along the way. I watch the Westerns channel now, and quite often, and just some of those shows. I find myself thinking, kids don't get that today. Some of the, I guess the character study, the character building actually in there, the little lessons about how to do things right, just building a solid character. You really see that in those old shows just over and over. That just not as prevalent, I don't think, today in a lot of the shows. And I don't know if we're having as much of that, probably having a little bit of everything with the 500 channels. I know it seemed like we went through a period of time there in when was it, the 80s? I don't know, 70s, 80s, there were a lot of sitcoms with families, and kids, and it seemed like I didn't really watch a lot of them. I probably can't speak to it with any authority, but it seemed like whenever I would see a part of one of those, the kids were just always being smart mouth to the parents, and just, it's like, oh man, it's obnoxious. They're just being obnoxious. And I don't know, I guess they figured the kids would like to see that, and so it sold, so they sold products. But I don't know, we might have had a generation come through thinking that's the way to act. Because we do have a few people who act that way, don't we? Obnoxiously. But wow, how did I get off on all that so quickly? I don't know, just like I say, when you have a recorder and you have a channel on YouTube, you can do what you want. You can talk about whatever you like. It just doesn't matter. I guess in some ways, John and I still just act like, we started the channel yesterday and we've got 3 subscribers. We really haven't changed much. I think we've gotten a little better at what we do. You just do, or you just gradually change, if nothing else. Whether it's better or worse, you tend to evolve. I have looked back at some of the video. I forgot what video I was looking at not long ago, because we were going to do another one. I don't know whether it was a chapter 2 or what it was, but or maybe somebody made a remark, and I didn't know whether I was surprised that I had said something. Whatever the reason was, I was looking through some lever gun video or something, and actually needed to sit and listen to it and to see what I said for some reason or something. And I thought, wow, this is painful, man. Took him forever. Yeah, so I know there are some of those earlier ones that I did ramble even more than I do now. And I think we've cut out some of the rambling. I've gotten a little bit better about that, even though I still just am relaxed. I'm not all that conscious of it, but I try not to ramble for 7 minutes before we get at whatever we're doing. I know some of those early ones I did talk a little too much, kind of like a radio show, wasn't it? But I don't know. I guess that was it. That was the way we started, and that was the way I approached it. I wasn't in a hurry, and was just being myself and having fun with firearms. And just it kind of is what it is. And we had fun then, and we still have fun doing what we're doing. One of the things I was going to talk about, I was clearing out a little area here in my reloading room. We have boxes and things, and I noticed here's a box of Swiss 7.5 by 55 ammo, and a little half a box of Krag 30-40 ammo, and just how my life has changed because of the videos started that in a lot of ways. I used to be, I never did really focus on one caliber by any stretch. I had all the popular pistol calibers and revolver calibers, I guess. With rifle calibers, I really was fairly limited. Not being a hunter and a huge rifleman, I like the 5.56, of course, the AR and the 308, because of the military. There used to be some surplus ammo in those. That's one reason I got into those early on. Plus, I like the rifles. The military rifles are cool because they're durable, well-made, practical, functional. That's the kind of stuff I've always liked. You can imagine that, a Glock guy and all that. A guy who used to drive boxy Volvos and a Honda Element. I just like functional things that work. That's just me. But so I really didn't have a lot. I couldn't even have told you what a 300 Win Mag cartridge look like. A lot of things that people use to hunt these days that are really popular rifles, or some of the I'm drawing a blank on the type of rifle, the kind of high-end rifle a lot of people hunt with, but just any cartridge really. However, as I don't know, well, it wasn't exclusively the project, the YouTube project, I guess. I did have my Lee Enfield years ago. Got into that cartridge, and but at that time the ammo was around a whole lot cheaper than it is now, and so I got that stuff. I got some of that I ordered recently. We want to do something else with that, here sometime. And I've been ordering a lot of ammo. Man, I've spent a fortune in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I've got some more of the Swiss in, some of the Krag ammo in, and some of the 303 British, some ammo for Tokarev, whatever. We hope to show you here sometime soon, and some things like that. But anyway, I've got lots of 30-06 here in the way, some 308. What else? Oh, some 7.62 by 54R. I picked up some today. Just all kinds of rifle ammo that really wasn't my experience, 10, 15 years ago. Here's a stack of 300 Blackout. So you name it, it's here. We've got it. I could start a gun shop here without a lot of trouble. I really could. Of course, that said, I don't want to start a gun shop. I had entertained that notion several times over the years. It seemed like every time I would think about it even halfway seriously, it was a time where the economy was a little bit down. And then there's always been pressure on the firearms industry, and I've known people having trouble in that business. And that's just, as much as I'd love to do it, I love firearms of all sorts. I know people struggling, and I know that's not an easy business to be in. So I always put that on the back burner for certain. But, ironically, though, in the last 4 to 5 years, or however long it's been, the firearms industry has been very, very healthy. It would have been a great time, like 5, 6 years ago, to start up a gun shop, and still is, I guess. Although it's gotten more competitive, there are a lot of gun shops. But the firearms industry, the shooting sports, have, in some ways, skyrocketed. You see it. You see your friends, the ammo availability, and this has been going on for a long time now, hasn't it? For several years. It's a good thing. It's a little frustrating when you can't find ammo you want, and it's kind of hard to dicker on the price of a gun because some of them they won't stay on the shelf. So it's just the way it is. But it's really a good thing. Lots of people getting into firearms. It really is a different world. I have so many people ask. Of course, I do on YouTube, but in real life, in my non-virtual life, I still do. And people that surprise you, that they are deciding or thinking about getting a carry permit, or their husband is, or the wife is, or they both are, and all this kind of thing. I go to functions, school functions, where I teach, and there'll be parents asking me about it, firearms, and about buying targets and things. It's just everywhere. Now, I know there's a lot of people not into firearms. There's still a lot of people who hate firearms, and of course, I don't hear from them very much, except maybe on YouTube, in the troll comments, perhaps. But it is a different world, and it's a good thing. There's so many more people getting into it. Hopefully, John and I are doing our part in getting more people, hooked and helping to educate a little bit. Even though our channel is both education and entertainment, we do try to educate too and give some information. Not as maybe in depth as some other people do, and I could name them. You know who they are. There's some YouTubers out there that do an extremely good job of going really in depth on firearms. Some people who are kind of lightning rods, and I don't bring them up for that reason. And on videos and things, I'd like to compliment them occasionally, different people, but it just always goes into negativity, and people, seize that moment to they've got a grudge against them or something, or they got blocked by them, so they just seize that. So as I've said before, I just delete comments about other YouTubers generally because I don't want the negativity stuff coming on. It almost always does. And but anyway, there are people out there that do a really good job of going in depth, maybe to the point where you're bored to tears at times, or maybe you're not. Obviously, some of them are very successful, so not too many people are bored, and just do a great job. We just do a little bit different type of thing. I like to give you the information you probably want, and enough that you need, and just the information I'm comfortable giving. Really, I don't have a lot of fun when I'm doing a video if it's 10 or 15 minutes of just breaking down a gun and explaining every little piece about it, and just absolutely every aspect of it. I wouldn't enjoy what we do as much. So that's one reason I don't do that. So I just like to shoot them, let you know what I think. And that's really what we got started doing. Never, ever use the word gun reviewer, and still don't necessarily consider myself a reviewer. I guess we've kind of fallen into that in terms of giving at least enough information that you can get an idea about whether it might be something you want to investigate further. And I shoot them. There are disadvantages to what we do and advantages, I guess. One thing we do is shoot stupid things and take them apart, shoot them, and see how they shoot for me and whether I like them or not. And of course, I shoot them before the videos, after the videos, and I shoot them enough to know whether they seem to work or not. The one thing you don't get really, I guess, from any reviewer on YouTube that I know of very often, now occasionally you do, depending on the gun, the firearm, but is like how a gun will stand up over 3-4 years of hard use, maybe. I don't know. Unless one of us YouTubers happens to have some firearm for several years and we just shoot it extensively over a period of years, we can kind of let you know how it's doing. And, of course, I have a lot of firearms I've had for a long time, and they're still working, and you can tell when I shoot them they're still working, and I like them, so that tells you something. But we can give you a snapshot, and most guns work. It's that simple. And if there's a problem with a particular brand of firearm, you're going to hear about it. You're going to know. And I'm probably going to know, and I'm going to let you know that, this gun has mixed reviews. You'll see negative, you'll see positive, and whatever I've heard, whatever I know about it. And along those same lines, I tend not to buy guns I don't like. I'm not going to buy junk. I know there are people who'd love to see me just bring guns out and lambaste them, rail about how terrible they are or something. Well, I don't know of any guns that are that terrible. And if they are, well, I might. I don't know. If they are, I don't care to own them or even test them or shoot them. Like, why? I mean, life is too short to shoot junk when you get right down to it. And one thing is, several astute observers have pointed out, from time to time, when just at various times, that listen, I've seen people say, listen, guys, you can sort of tell what Hickok likes or doesn't like by what he reviews or what he does not review. And there's some truth in that. Some things we just haven't gotten to. But then there are some other brands of firearms that I just end up not doing much of. And lots of times it's random. It really is. I get a lot of requests for, there are some guns that just tend to have more trouble. Like, I'll tell you, Taurus revolvers, for example. I had a Taurus revolver, a 38 special. I traded is what I wanted, actually, a North Carolina IPSC match. And I forget the model number. It was a little, I don't know, I guess it was about the size of a Smith Model 19, or maybe a little smaller, whatever the frame is. And it was about a 2-inch 38 special. And I thought it was cool because it was a gun. It was one of the first guns I'd won. I think maybe the second one or something. So it was kind of special, but then and it worked. I didn't have a tragic story to tell you about that gun. It actually worked okay. But I traded it for a guitar at one point. And I just like Smiths. If I'm going to have a revolver, I just prefer Smiths. But that one worked fine. I didn't shoot it a lot, but I never experienced any trouble with it. I've never thought Taurus had the same feel as a Smith. They just don't. They're less expensive, and they feel less expensive. But now, they can have a bad reputation. There are people that have a lot of trouble with Taurus revolvers, for example. And if I'm going to buy a revolver, I'm going to buy a Smith, generally speaking, unless it's a specialty gun like the Judge. I bought that, I think, before the Governor had come out, and of course the Governor's a lot more expensive. And it's okay. The Judge, the thing I notice with them is the Taurus revolvers seems like they're more likely to have a timing issue or a cylinder gap issue or even an action issue sometimes. You get them smoothed out though, and then they tend to work fine. We had that model 94, I think, the 22 Taurus revolver, 10-shot, 9-shot, 10-shot, I think it was. And that thing had an action that took 2 fingers almost to pull. That was one thing. And it actually would bind up. It was binding on us. And I worked on it, and took a stone to the back of the barrel and worked on it, lubed it, got that thing to where it didn't bind right there at all. It would do that after you shot it a little bit. There just wasn't enough of a cylinder gap. But then we just never did like the action on it. Actually, I had bought that for John, and then he finally traded it off. He asked me if I minded, and said, "Nah, go ahead. It's just never going to be a Smith." And someday we'll get a Smith model 617 22. And you just don't have those issues with a Smith. I never have. But anyway, the point I was trying to make there before I meandered around is that I just tend not to want to get guns I know there could be problems with. I don't want to own them. And, you know, I just is not as interested in reviewing them necessarily, you know, looking for problems. But I'm not sure about Taurus semi-autos. I hear mixed reviews on them, but I just don't know. I get a lot of requests, and there's a couple of those I probably will try to get a hold of at some point, just see how they work. Same old thing though, if I get one, unless I shoot it extensively, I'm not sure it's going to be a valid test, because the take on them is, or the hit on them is that, you know, is the reliability factor. Then when I hear something negative about it, and you know, maybe I don't shoot it enough that is demonstrated. I don't know. It might work fine for me, but it doesn't work for the next 8 out of 10 people. Don't know. Although I do hear from a lot of people that seem to like those. What is it, the 790 Slim line, or whatever those models are. I'm not as familiar with the model numbers and names in the Taurus semi-auto pistols, but they have quite a following. They really do. And I just don't know. I've not investigated on the internet and the forums to see exactly how they operate and what kinds of problems people are having, or if they're having a lot of success with them. I don't know. I need to get a couple of those that are pretty popular and try them out, I guess. But anyway, just I would kind of update you on some of that, ramble a little bit. One thing on a side note about the reloading room ramblings too, as with our videos, really don't, of course, edit these or even redo them. A little segment. I don't remember the last time I redid a segment, you know, played it back. I have to be honest with you, I'm not even listening to them a lot of times. I just kind of trying to remember, did I say anything too stupid, or did I ramble too far off of whatever I was trying to talk about, and we just go ahead and post it. But again, that's the live aspect of what you get here on the Hickok channel, and most people seem to like that. So you have to take the bad with the good. Just keep that in mind. You know how slick John can do with editing, if you've seen the rapid fire videos and some of the montages and things. But we don't pull that hammer out very often, and we just do the live stuff. So this is live. Speaking of T&E firearms and guns I like or don't like, I think I used to update you a little bit. I figure you see it in video. I eventually update you, because whether or not I've bought a gun or sent it back is what I was getting at there, because you'll see it around the compound. We've got into so many different firearms, and we do so many different things, it seems now, that there are some firearms maybe you don't even realize that I purchased. So I probably, in the radio shows, should update you occasionally on these. And I was just thinking here before I turned on the recorder, and I'm probably forgetting several, but the 1022 Takedown model, I did purchase that. I sent a check for that gun, so that's mine now. And the Glock 35, now that is the first Glock I have sent back. Now you could read a lot into that, but really you should not, because I almost kept it, and I thought I would actually, but I don't know, I had several guns floating around, that Beretta CX4 Storm and some other, I forgot what I had, just some pricey guns, and had bought a couple of guns, and I just need to discipline myself and send that gun back. It's not something I'm going to carry. I don't think I'm going to get back into competition. You know, I just got to send it back, you know, and I finally did. But it was one I could have easily kept. It was a sweet shooter. And kind of wish I had in some ways, because I got some ideas I want to do with chronographing that I wish I had it for that. But I exercised some discipline and sent it back. Glock paid the shipping for the first time, or they offered to, which they had never before too, so that was nice. And I think it was kind of random. They had some change in personnel there. It's not because they decided, hey, Hickok is we love him. It wasn't that. I think if you asked however many people they have in their company, if it's 1,000, 999 would not know who Hickok45 is. So don't get the wrong impression there. The person I work with, I think, might know me, that I do the T&E management of that and just send them back and all that and do the requests. The SR22 I kept. I sent a check. I may have already told you that. The little 22. We'll get that out some more. And let's see what else we were recently. The little CZ P07 we posted recently. I didn't keep that one. I sent it back. Again, not because I didn't like the gun. It's just I don't really have a lot of use for it. I guess another CZ. I do have the CZ 75 that you have seen, and I think you know that that's my gun. So I have the CZ 75. So I sent the CZ P07 duty back. Shoots very well, really does. So, and I think we're going to get another CZ in before too long. So that's nice. They send those in for me to play with. I like that. Actually, have not been getting many T&E guns, and I have been remiss in requesting them. We had so many different firearms that people locally offered us this summer that you saw, and we got to most of those, and which I'd really rather do, and that's kind of what seems to be happening. We're kind of evolving to that more so than requesting from the manufacturers, which is nice because it's just so much easier to hook up at a gun shop or somewhere or a parking lot, and everybody that I have met through that has been a great person. Someone who wants to really support the channel, like the SIG 226 Navy, and just different, the Swiss rifle, the Savage, you name it. There's some you haven't seen yet. You got CZ 52 we've not posted. Just guns that people lend to us. It's really easier for me. Don't have to ship it back or make a decision about whether to buy it or not. It costs me a lot of money that I shouldn't spend. And again, the T&E guns are nice because there's that option, and I can bring a gun. We can bring a gun to you that maybe we wouldn't otherwise. But it's not some big deal. It's so funny. I think there are people that think that's a huge deal, and it's like some kind of sellout or some goofy thing like that. And that's a whole nother topic. And John and I have talked about that, and with some of the other YouTubers that we're close to, how absurd that notion is. It's people who just don't have a handle or knowledge of business or how things work. And I talked about that in the last radio show. I think all that sellout and rip-off stuff. Went on my little soapbox about that. But the actual, I don't know if I've discussed this at all yet or not on a radio show, but the beauty of what we do is we are really only beholden to YouTube, Google, when you get right down to it. They're the ones who pay for our ammo and some of our guns, actually, through the ads. So we don't have to hold off because of the ads. We're able to buy you wouldn't believe how much ammo I buy. It's embarrassing how much I spend a month on ammo, and then some guns too. And who pays for that? Google. You do. I mean, you guys do, actually. I mean, because of the views, because of the subscriber base. So in a way, it's like the ideal situation. Ruger doesn't pay me anything. Glock, and nobody pays us anything except the Google YouTube, which really is you all, just by watching. So a lot of ways, you're just voting by tuning in, and that's it. Just like a TV show. Well, it is a TV show, I guess, on YouTube, on the computer screen. That's it. So here I am thinking on the fly, which is dangerous. But isn't it? It'd be like, I'm watching a TV show, Gunsmoke or whatever it is. It's a little bit like accusing Matt Dillon of being, well, that'd be a little different, I guess. But it's a little bit like accusing the people acting in these shows of being sellouts to whoever's doing the advertising. the specific product that's being advertised. I mean, they don't really care, what the ad is. The show just wouldn't be there if it weren't for the ads. And so it's just the ad revenue that keeps it going. That's kind of the way we are. YouTube, Google, they don't care whether we like Rugers or we love Taurus or we hate Smith & Wesson or we hate Glock. They could care less. It's just the views. So anyway, ironically, it's just the opposite, really. I mean, we're more independent because of that. So I don't know. We definitely don't owe these vendors anything. We're now able to get a T&E gun from, I guess, about 5, 6. And that's only because they have offered them. I think I actually contacted 3 different ones, Springfield Glock and Ruger initially, and we've had 3 or 4 contact us since then. And we really don't take advantage of it very much anymore. It seems like need to go through the list at each one of those companies and pick out something and get them to send it to us, I guess. But it's a little tougher to get as many videos done right now where I'm teaching, and we're busy here. It's Labor Day weekend. We've got a lot of rain, and we could conceivably go a week or two and not get a video actually made. We've got a few stocked up here, but it just depends on the week. But anyway, as usual, I ramble, but just as things come to my mind, I like that. It's nice having I'll tell you the biggest advantage of the T&E firearms is it enables us to get our hands on a firearm sometimes that would be really hard to get a hold of. Like the Ruger SR 1911. I don't know if we'd ever gotten one of those. How they were hard to get a hold of. And so it's kind of nice having that firearm, or the XDS from Springfield. If we had been on the Smith & Wesson list, for example, I could have gotten a Shield, which I did. I got one from a viewer, but that was chance, that happens. So that's a nice aspect of it, to get a firearm like that occasionally and put it through its paces. Although it kind of frustrates people because you can't find them in the shops, right? But anyway, it is nice. Just that we don't not beholden to them. That's for sure. Speaking of that, I forgot about the gun of the show. Here's the gun of the day, gun of the show that I'll fondle a little bit here. See what you think. Let's do it again. Oh yeah, another boring bolt action, huh? That's what it sounds like, doesn't it? That's what it is. And guess what? I've owned this firearm for about 2 hours, I guess. I ran across it today as I was running around Nashville. I was getting ready to leave a gun shop, and I looked down. It's a short Mosin. I like short Mosins. I've been meaning to buy one, just never can find them. And by short Mosin, I mean a Model 38 or a Model 44. Many of you know what that is. And there it was. I picked it up. I'll be darned. It's a Model 38. You just don't see them, You just really don't. And it was really priced almost the same as the regular Mosins that full length that you see everywhere. And I picked it up, looked at it, about 40 seconds, and said, I'll take this. I just don't see them. I've been meaning to buy one of those, either the 38 or the 44. The 44 has the bayonet, for a year or two, because I prefer the carbine, length on just about any rifle, and just didn't see one for the right price. I think I saw one at Knob Creek, a 44 or 38. It seemed like it was $300-400, and I passed it up, and someone else bought it. And so I've come close on a few of them, but my gosh, this thing was a steal, I thought, and I just picked it up. So you'll see that in a video here one day. I'm just kind of a sucker for these old military firearms. I don't have rooms full of surplus bolt actions as some people do. I just like them, though. They're pretty cool. There's a lot of them I don't have, and there's still a lot of them I don't know everything about. But they're just the history, and even if now the Mosin is not my favorite firearm, as it is some people's, it seems to be. give me an .03 Springfield or a 1917 or a .383, a Mauser, Lee Enfield. I'll take all those, over the Mosin any day. But the Mosin is fine. It's a good little shooter. The ammo's cheap, and the history, it's just pretty cool that we can just pick those things up for not very much money. As I've mentioned, and most of you know probably, that I'm back to the classroom and teaching the little teenagers and picking on them daily. So don't have quite as much time to work on videos, but John and I have made some pretty good use of time. We've been able to do one video during the week, each week, during an afternoon before it gets too dark, and then we'll usually get one on a weekend or two maybe. So we're still cranking along and having fun with that. We just have to plan our time, and hopefully the weather cooperates. Got lots on the list, lots of things to do, lots we need to do, things we have not done, and as you can tell, it's a little random maybe, but that's okay. We try to give it a little bit of variety if it's in the posting order or however. It's kind of funny. Someone made a comment yesterday, I think, somewhere about how all these pistols were doing. They'd like to see more rifle videos, and I thought, oh, okay. I looked back through there, and I think about 6 out of the last 10 were rifle videos, but you can't please everybody. We do try to throw in a little bit of variety. I think we do that more now than we used to. We used to, hey, if we wanted to post 5 Glock videos in a row, we'd just do it. We didn't really think that much about it, and we'll still do that if we want to. But we know we have a variety of viewers, and it's not just a marketing thing. I have quite an expansive interest in firearms. You know me, I love my muzzle loaders, I love my Colt single actions, I love my Mauser and my Garand and my double action Smith & Wesson revolvers, my Glocks, my 1911s. It's a true love affair with all those firearms. So I do. I right now, for example, I feel like we have not done enough with the old guns lately. I'm anxious to do some Colt single action and maybe some muzzle loading here in the fall. So I go through the same cycle. I want to work with some firearms that I've not worked with for a while or enjoyed for a while, just as viewers want to see something maybe they haven't seen for a while. Of course, they could always go back and look at one of those other videos. I still suspect a lot of people have not seen all of the videos and are just looking at the new ones. But anyway, there are a lot of people who have seen all of them and do see them all. Deserve some kind of medal, no doubt about that. But I am back to the classroom and enjoying that. It's a lot of fun teaching. Some of you may have had that experience, and it's just there's nothing like it really. It's a very enriching experience and fun. Getting to know kids and work with them, and as goofy as they are, you go through that process beginning of each year of not even knowing their names, and then gradually learn their names and get to know them, and it's just really neat. By the time a month or two has passed, you feel like you know them, and then by the end of the year, there's just kind of a bond. You don't really ever forget them. It's really really neat. Once they have endured an entire semester or year in your class, you just and of course they're too young to fully appreciate it, but I think I know they do later for sure. But it's just it's special, really. It's fun, and if you ever get a chance to do it, if you've ever taught some mini course of some sort, even if it's hunter education or Sunday school or just anything at all, you know what I'm talking about. It's fun getting to know the people in your class, and then that interaction daily. It's just a blast. As long as you can survive everything else, all the politics and the negative side of anything like that, the actual teaching of it, the actual teaching is just lots of fun. On a more serious note, I don't know if you all are aware of this, but and you wouldn't necessarily know the person, but we've lost some people, of course, in the shooting industry lately, and I'm sure some I don't know about it. It's just sad that I was listening to Tom Gresham this week, the podcast from last Sunday's broadcast, and learned that Mark Craighead had died suddenly. He's the founder of Crossbreed Holsters, and I was, taken back. I didn't know that. I think it had just happened, like last Saturday or Sunday, maybe, when the day before Tom was broadcasting his radio show, because he was very close to him. He was a sponsor of Tom's, and he was interviewed on there quite often, and Tom replayed an interview with him kind of as a tribute to him in the third hour, I think it was. But I heard him on there a lot of times. It's kind of what led me to trying those holsters. Hearing him talk about them, the enthusiasm that he and Tom Gresham had for them, I just finally had to buy one, and that's what really started me on the road to that type of inside the waistband holster. And of course now there's a lot of different companies making them that have copied that. So, but anyway, it's sad that he was, I think, 43, had a heart attack, I believe, and bang, he's gone. And John and I talked to him at the NRA convention at his booth, and we'll see him again. That life is short. You got to have fun while you can. Make the most of it. Not just fun, but make the most of it. Wow, it's awfully, awfully young to be taken away. And I know that most of you are aware too that Derek from Talon Grips, passed away back. Oh, it was back in the spring, actually. And John and I had toyed with, doing some kind of video, and we may still, talk about it in a video or something. I don't know. It's such a weird thing. It happened fast, too. And I had been communicating with him on the Shield grips. I got the Shield. I don't know if I've told this story. I'm getting senile probably, but I was coming home from Murfreesboro with the Shield someone had lent me and was driving home, and I contacted Derek at Talon Grips and just said, hey man, if you don't have grips for this, you need to get them out fast, because this thing is in bad need of them. To me, it was very slippery. I love that gun. It's a great gun. That Shield is the Smith & Wesson Shield, but it's very slippery in the hand, I think. And all this thing needs is some Talon grips. And he had been getting all these calls, and when I called him, he said, okay, that's it. I'm going to get one, and we'll make some grips for it, because he'd been hearing about it a little bit here and there. And then when I called him, yep, he bought one that day. And he literally did. And had the grips out literally in just a couple of days, I think, 3 days. Put those things together. And but anyway, so we had a lot of communication there, and then bang, just gone. And just didn't hear from him and didn't answer my text, and it was kind of hard to get information, and because I barely remembered his last name and everything, and I dug that out, and it was a hard time. The family went through a hard time and all that, and they had other things to deal with than the business, to keep it going. But now it's back up and running in able hands, and so I've been in contact with them now. They've been in contact with me. I mean, they're not a sponsor or anything, but they just know I really like their grips, and so they'll ask me questions occasionally about what I like or what works, that kind of thing. But or send me a sample, of course. But they're not really a sponsor, and no financial connections there. But they just good people. Derek was a great guy. He really was. And it's sad. About all you can say. People, those two, and hopefully most people, that they seem to get a lot out of life, and we're doing stuff. They were doing stuff. And, in a lot of ways, it's sad. It's always harder. Those of you who've lost people know what I'm talking about. My dad went quickly and just got the call, and I didn't make it home. The drive, he was gone. But he was in his truck on his way to go help somebody do some work. and I mean, he was 76, and he was active and doing stuff, and just had an aortic problem, and he was gone by the 3 that afternoon. And it's always harder on everybody else when that happens. You know, it just puts you in shock. You know, and but when you've had time to reflect on it, you at least I have come to the conclusion, you know, for the individual that that leaves the planet abruptly, nobody wants to go, I guess, but in a lot of ways that's the way to go. Right in the middle of having fun, right in the middle of doing what you like to do. You know, Mark Craig had, when Tom Gresham replayed the interview, you know, I had those same thoughts. You know, he was talking about what they were doing, their plans, and the new holster lines they were working on, and how busy they were, and everything. And, you know, hey, that's, you know, you might as well be just active right up to the end. Of course, he was young, but, you know, if you hear that I got hit by a truck while I'm out on my bicycle, or motorcycle that I don't have yet, or, you know, I don't know, piece of pellet comes back and puts me out, hey, no regrets. You know, I'm doing what I like to do, and that's I don't want to go either, but I'd rather it be that way than be lying in a hospital somewhere for months and months or years with some horrible disease and slowly be taken away by cancer. I mean, that happens, but you know, there is the bright side, or the good side, the positive side. You know, going that way, I guess. You try to see the glass half full. You know, there's no easy way, but there is something positive about that from my perspective, that, you know, you're heavily involved in what you're doing, and just taken away, you know, harder on the people around you, but maybe it's the best for the people involved. I don't know. It's unfortunately, it happens sometimes when people are way too young for that to happen. Of course, we're all too young for that to happen, but it's going to happen. So, anyway, just my ramblings on that, you know. But I do, to continue that rambling, I do when I hear about somebody, you know, being killed, they're mountain climbing or something, you know, and the rope breaks, or they fall off a mountain, they're trying to climb Mount Everest, or somebody's killed in a race car, for example, or just they're doing something. As tragic as it is, there's always that other side of me that I almost a little grin, you know, that person was taken out doing what they dearly loved. You know, they were just right in the throes of life, enjoying life, doing something. You know, that, as opposed to the couch potato or somebody who's never doing anything, trolling the world or something, just being a problem. You know, people that are actually doing something, and even if it's risky, you know, they were doing something. They were living life. They were, you know, there's something about the quality of life that's more important to me than the quantity of life. There are people who might live 80 years, but they've had a 20-year stretch where they just sat on the sofa, or a 40-year stretch where they sat on the sofa and got fat, you know, didn't do anything but watch soap opera reruns or something, you know. Is that person's life, you know, greater because they lived to 80, whereas someone else got snuffed out at 40, climbed 6 mountains, or won 5 NASCAR championships, you know, before they had a wreck? Or, yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense. Makes sense to me, though. I guess I'm the one with the recorder in my hand, so I can say it, right? Hey, one thing I wanted to say and compliment you guys on is, you know, we have a lot of subscribers and a lot of viewers now. And when you think about it, you try to put things in perspective, and all the channels out there, and all the good channels, and all the good stuff out there where you could spend your time. I have to be impressed that so many of you know, watch our videos, because we don't really have a lot of drama on our channel. We don't have any drama on our channel. Don't get into the drama stuff, you know. I get enough middle school drama, you know, in my other job. We keep that off the channel. And, you know, I rarely have Hooters girls in videos. You're thinking, rarely? Where are they? Where did I miss them? No, we never have Hooters girls in the videos. I've been trying, guys. I'm sorry, but I just can't get them into the video. You know, we just do guns, and, you know, you got an ugly old guy, and, you know, you got a good camera guy, and, you know, it's a testament, really. It's a testimony to you all and to your taste that, well, that sounded a little self-serving, didn't it? But you know what I mean. You're interested in some substance. You're interested in learning about firearms, and you enjoy firearms, and you're looking for that, and that just I'm impressed. You know, I really am. I who'd have thunk that we could have 230,000 subscribers, you know, without Hooters girls, and you know, a lot of craziness going on all the time. I'm just you know, again, it's a testament to you guys and to people in general that enjoy the videos. We appreciate it, and we thank you, and it's a great place to be for John and me, because we're able to continue doing what we're doing. As I said earlier, you guys are funding the ammo and some firearms, and our ability to do this, and it keeps the enthusiasm going. We don't have to think, okay, now I'd like to shoot the Krag, but you know, that ammo is $1 a shot, so we'll just take 3 shots, or the 45-70, or some 300 blackout, or whatever it might be, and we can just focus on just whatever we want to do, whatever we have time to do, and we can even be on the search for a specific firearm, and we can just do it. We need to upgrade computers, you know, we can pretty well do it, and it's because of you all, and because you have great taste. No, really, we appreciate it, and we don't say it enough. And you know, it's like anything else. The negative tends to get attention, and we try not to do that. But you know, it is funny. We just focus on, most things are positive. It's like the newspaper or anything else. You know, most of life is positive. So the things that you see in the newspaper are those few negative things. It's not that everything is negative. It's just that it is unusual, so it's worth writing about in the newspaper, because generally people do the good thing. They do the right thing. And just like on our channel, everything really goes well, generally speaking. And you know, so that's why a couple of obnoxious trolls are noticed, you know. And so we have to be careful not to give them too much attention, right? Because and y'all do a great job. I know you spam them out, or you negative them out, you know, and then I'll usually look at it and delete it, but and block if it's, you know. I wish I could get an announcement to the world. Anybody who is ever going to look at a gun video, I wish I had like 5 seconds to talk to them. I'd have to think carefully about what I was going to say, so I wouldn't ramble too much. But I wish I could get everybody together that is ever going to look at one of our gun videos, anyway, one of our shooting videos, and just talk to them very briefly, whether they're 7 years old or 15 or 35, and just say something to the effect that, look, just come in and enjoy the videos. Try not to bring in drama. Try not to insult people. We're going to be very quick on the blocking trigger, but don't make us block. We don't want to block anybody, make you create more accounts and come back and, you know, and click dislike, you know, just in retaliation. Look, just come in and enjoy the video for what it is. We promise not to judge you. Don't judge us too harshly. We're just doing what we do. And don't judge the other commenters. Just watch the video, leave a comment if you like, try to be civil, enjoy it. Let's all hold hands and be nice, and just enjoy the video. Maybe you'll learn something, maybe you'll be entertained for a few minutes. We're not charging you very much to watch them, so just enjoy the videos, you know. But anyway, that's my pipe dream, right? It probably wouldn't help anyway. But we do appreciate you all watching, and some great folks watching. Gosh, I hear from you all the time in private messages and in the comments too. I really quit saving. For a while I would save, and I still do sometimes, but I get so many messages that almost bring tears to your eyes about people that watch them, and I've told you that before. And maybe they're recuperating from wounds from the Mideast, or they're watching with their kids, and just more than we deserve. But it's not just flattering. It's really sometimes heartrending. And but anyway, we appreciate all of you and keep coming back. Well, I've gotten into some weird ramblings, I think, in this one. I may have to listen to this, make sure it's not too weird. But let's get back to firearms. Of course, that's what we're about. Another firearm that's lying here that I've been trying out. Now, again, you guys that listen to the radio shows, be good. Don't start asking me, where's the video on that gun you mentioned? That's model 38 or whatever. Okay? Behave. You get insight, you get early information for wading through all this. I also ran across another firearm recently that I have had on my radar that you just don't see. The stupid things just don't show up anywhere in gun shops or anywhere. It very rarely. And that is Kel-Tec. Kel-Tec. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, me too, usually with Kel-Tec. But the Kel-Tec Sub 2000. I ran across one for a reasonable price, in a used one, no manual, nothing, in .40 caliber. And I thought, you know what? That's priced right. I'm going to have to take that. It's such a unique firearm. You just can't hate the thing, even if you want to. I have a special place in my heart for pistol caliber rifles, I guess you could say, and who would have thunk it? One thing that kept me from getting into cowboy shooting, how's that relate to the Sub 2000? Well, back in the 90s, I thought, I would like to do some cowboy shooting. That looks like fun. I've got all the firearms, except I had that beautiful lever gun in 4570, the 1886. I mean, that may be the most gorgeous lever gun ever made. That one by Browning. And but it's a 4570. You can't really use that in cowboy action shooting unless it's some special long-range match or something. But in just the general stages, it's too powerful. You can't use 4570 going through those courses of fire. It has to be a lever gun that fires a pistol caliber, or revolver caliber, or pistol, whatever. It has to fire a 45 Colt, 45 or a 4440, 357, 38. And for the longest time, I remember thinking, well, what purpose do I have for a lever gun that shoots a pistol caliber? Duh. I'm not going to buy one of those. That'd be goofy. What am I going to do with that? I've got pistols. I want to fire pistol caliber. So I really was. I had a mental block against that. But then I ran across the Marlin Cowboy model, that 45 Colt, and I thought, you know what? Maybe I really want to try this. So I'll just buy one of those. It was pretty expensive, I recall, back in 96, 97. So I brought that thing home, cleaned her up, loaded it up with 45 Colt cartridges, and shot at some. And I was in love. That is fun. That was fun. Like virtually no recoil. It's like shooting a .22 almost. And just fun. You could just plink around, hit anything you wanted to hit with it, and the darn thing would hold 13 rounds in the magazine. I still have it. Talk about it like it's gone. And you've seen it in videos. I hope you'd better have. It's just fun. Lots of fun. Of course, now I have the same gun in .44 Magnum. And if they were more widely available, I might even have it in a .357. But they're just not easy to find. So I fell in love with that concept. Well, fast forward here, 15 years later, and I find that I have fallen in love, to be dramatic, with pistol caliber semi-automatic carbines too, really. I mean, they're just a lot of fun. Those of you who have shot them, own them, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it'd be easy to say, like, what purpose does that serve? You know, if you want a rifle, I mean, get a real rifle. You know, shoot the 5.56 at least. You know, you're going to be carrying something around that's a shoulder, you know, firearm. At least have a real cartridge. Otherwise, your Glock or M&P or your SIG or whatever, CZ will do the same thing. But that's people who haven't fired them, people who have not owned them. They are just so much fun, and they do have, you know, a purpose. I mean, they really could, tactically, quote unquote, or however. So anyway, you've seen me with the CX4 Storm. I've got the AR-15 and 9mm. And, what else have I had? I don't know. Well, I tried some others too, but they are just fun, and they're easy to shoot well, generally speaking. So. I picked it up, and I got it here too, and it folds up into like 16 inches. The entire thing, I think, is about 16 inches long. I mean, it literally is a package that you can almost put in your pocket, yet it's a rifle, the way it folds. If you've seen one, you're familiar with it. If not, you ought to look it up. Google the thing. It's the Kel-Tec Sub 2000. Comes in 9mm and 40. And it is just quite an invention. I'm not a huge fan of Kel-Tec, I'll say that. But they do have certain models that are very, very interesting. And this is one of them. And by all accounts, from my reading, this is one of the better Kel-Tecs. It tends to work. It's got some quirks, but it's a very interesting design and tends to be reliable from what I've read. The front sight's kind of weird. It's very weird. And I love it when I pick up a used gun and bring it home and shoot it. And this one I shot today. And I think I took a few shots with it just the other day when I found it and brought it home, shot it a few times. And I was having a little trouble hitting, but, you know, the sight's kind of different and weird. It's hard to get your cheek down on it, and but I'm getting used to it. Well, I loaded up 3 or 4 magazines today, was messing with it out there, and said, you know what, this thing sure does seem to shoot to the right. But I've been fooled before, you know, so I took my time, shot, you know, several shots, bear down and make sure you get a good trigger break, and then I shot some steel up pretty close. They were like 5 inches to the right, even on the close steel targets, and low, significantly low. And I had read that the sight was hard to adjust. I remember that. So I didn't have anything. I didn't even go on the. Well, I did. I went on my phone, went on the web briefly, and looked up and found a little bit about adjusting the sight, enough that I could look at it and kind of figure out how it looked like he adjusted it. Typical guy, right? Didn't have a manual. And I figured it out and adjusted the sights. I moved it over to the right pretty much, and then moved it down because it was shooting low. And took some more shots and adjusted some more. And I've got it now, I think, to where it shoots pretty much right on, I think. I haven't bench rested it or anything, you know, scientific like that. But I've shot it enough to where I can hit the red plate with it, you know, like 5 times in a row. At least I did today, just messing around. But I mean, it was to the right almost a foot on that red plate. I had to hold literally about a foot to the left of it to hit it. And but anyway, what I was going to say, it's funny, you buy a used gun, that always gives me a little insight as to why that gun showed up in the gun shop, why somebody traded it in, you know, or sold it. If they were going out with that gun with those sights where they were, and somebody was, I'd like to have been a fly on the wall. Be interesting to have somehow magically, you know, with some Twilight Zone technology, to flash back to their little range session or wherever they were shooting, whoever it was, and just hear what they had to say. You know, oh, this gun's inaccurate. This gun's a piece of crap. It's terribly inaccurate. I can't believe they make something. I'm going to trade this thing for a real gun. And then they headed off to the gun shop. But the other sights were just off. Had to be one of the reasons they traded it in. I mean, to have the sights off that much. I mean, I shot like the Tombstone there, you know, which isn't all that far away, you know, in the Cowboy, and they were holding right in the middle of them. It was almost off the body. So I don't know how they hit anything, and I'm sure they were blaming it on the gun. So anyway, neat gun. So far, I had a couple of hang-ups with a certain, what kind of ammo, with RWS ammo. It didn't seem to like that, but everything else I've put through it so far, and I've just put maybe 150 rounds through it. It's done fine. So we'll see. I will shoot some more, and we'll put it in a video and see how it does. But it's just a interesting firearm. You know, it's one of those guns everybody ought to have, right? Good luck, because they apparently make 2 a year or something. I don't know what the deal is with it. Another firearm, speaking of firearms, I almost forgot to mention, had it in my notes, and that is the Ruger 1022 Takedown model. I think in maybe the last radio show, I talked about that, and how we were doing a chapter 2, and it got kind of crazy with problems and with different magazines, and we did something we don't normally do. We've only just stopped the video, and then we just picked up with it again, and just using the Ruger mags, whatever they BMX or whatever, you know, those new 25 round mags that tend to work better and with better ammo, and learned, if you listen to that radio show, that the bulk ammo was really the issue. I've got a bunch of bulk Federal ammo. Usually I have more trouble with the Remington. You know, it's notorious for getting one misfire out of 5 rounds, seems like. And the Federal, not so much. But I learned that who was it, told me that they had really bad experiences with bulk ammo if it was old or left outside or in the weather. And of course that's what mine had where it's been, out here in the barn, and through the 100 degrees and the 20 degrees. And so I don't know, I guess we're just going to have to toss it, or just shooting revolvers or something less frustrating. I don't know, because I had kind of stocked up on a bunch of it. You've seen the big bins of it. But anyway, that was the issue. Well, anyway, my point to this, bringing this up again, is I was looking at that video. You know, John did the best he could with the video. We carried it on out and finished it up, and it wasn't too bad. I was going to post it one day here recently, and I said, well, let me look at this thing again, because, you know, it was kind of a crazy thing the way we did it. I watched it, and I thought, man, that is just not really good video. I mean, it was, you know how I can ramble and sometimes drag a little too much anyway in a video. And that just the wrestling with that ammo, even before we did the cut, and then afterwards, it went pretty well. I told John, you know what, we need to do we need to do another chapter 2. I mean, we normally don't do that. We just don't. But it was going to be a kind of still painful, I thought. And I had picked up a couple more of those Ruger magazines in the interim. So I had, I think, 6 of them. And I said, John, let's just start clean on this chapter 2 and give the people a decent video. So with 6 of the new Ruger magazines loaded with CCI, nothing else, fresh CCI ammo, loaded them all up, got the gun clean, and said, okay, let's do chapter 2 now, and whatever happens, but we've got good ammo, we've got a clean gun, we have what I think might be the best high-capacity magazines on the market, those new Ruger mags, and, let's just shoot. And that's what we did. So we did that one afternoon, and just did a retake on that thing. The other one was long, and it was kind of painful, I'll have to say. Now, that said, of course, everybody knows the Ruger 1022. There's no big secret. They work really well. You can have an occasional problem when they get dirty and all that sort of thing with any ammo, any magazine. But the main point I wanted to make was, well, 2. First of all, just let you know what we did, so that when you see the 1022 video, you won't see the cut. It'll just be a normal chapter 2 video. No big secrets. That's why I'm letting you know now on the radio show, and also because I don't get into all that in this chapter 2 video. We just try to make a good chapter 2 video with it. But just a reminder, and I'll remind you along the way and somewhere in a video probably. But be careful of your bulk ammo. Maybe any of it. I don't know. 22. I did not realize that it was more susceptible to the weather, I guess, or dramatic climate changes and all that sort of thing. And maybe it's just the federal. I don't know. But just be aware of that. And I know I'm going to. And I'm going to use good ammo from here on out, especially in a video. 22 ammo is not all that expensive, regardless of what kind it is. And then unless you're shooting thousands and thousands of rounds of it, of course. But anyway, just thought I'd throw that in there and let you know. So when you see the video, what I talked about in the other radio show, again, just an update. All right. So I don't like that little gun. It did very well, and it's fun to shoot. I bought it. I'm keeping it. I really like it. Well, I guess I better wrap this rambling up here. I think I've gone long today, and just wish you all a great week. I hope you have a great Labor Day, or had a great Labor Day weekend. A little time to play, maybe chance to shoot. Speaking of shooting, by the way, appreciate the bids on the Wounded Warrior target. You know, that can, I don't know if I've had a radio show since that wrapped up or not. I, sent the Wounded Warrior project a 324, I think it was, that target brought. So that was nice. We want to do more of that. So we'll do that again. Try to do that about every month. We'll either designate those funds for the Wounded Warrior, or maybe a combination of that and the food bank. One of my favorite charities is the food bank. Of course, the Middle Tennessee Food Bank, but Second Harvest. But it'll be one of those or a combination of those. Try to do some good with these targets and take advantage of the viewers, the people that are willing to do that. So that was great. And can't mention names, don't know names. The bidders don't do that for publicity. But there were like 22, 25 people that bid on that were willing to support that project. And I guess some of them wanted the target too. And I will tell you, the fellow who did have the highest bid on that messaged me and offered to let me keep the target and auction it off again, he said. Now, it wasn't that he thought the target was dorky. Hey, I don't want that stupid target. Now, it wasn't like that, which would have been fine. But he said, now, it'd be fine if you sent it to me, but if you really wanted to, I'd be okay if you kept it and auctioned it off again, for the same calls or whatever, And we'll send it to you. We can do more targets, and that might get kind of weird. So I sent him that he's got the target already in hand, and money's at the Wounded Warrior Project. So because of the viewership, we would be remiss if we're not doing more of that. We did some of that up until about a year ago. I think I've told that, and I went through a weird spell there where people were buying things and then they wouldn't be able to pay for them or something. They'd have to put them back up or just whatever it was. It was kind of weird. The one person was the high bidder. Was it the kangaroo skin Steve Lee donated, I think? And turned out he was using his mother's account or something, and then he didn't have, I think he couldn't go through it. Anyway, with everything else going on, it's, I don't have time to deal with that kind of craziness. Just don't bid, if you're not interested in it. It's not, not that big a deal, but, and then I just went through it. And I was actually, if you recall, some of you longtime viewers recall, I was doing different things. So if you remember the old days, I was, it was to help fund the ammo projects and different things, the ammo. I would sign washers, and I was sending out 50 caliber bullet heads, signed and dated and all this kind of thing. And then occasionally eBay would take them down when they saw what they were, and I got a little concerned about that, and I just kind of got away from it for a while. But shouldn't be a problem with an actual paper target. Somebody probably could consider that a dangerous item, I'm sure. But we'll do some more of that. We should do more of that. It's I feel like we're obligated and perfectly happy to do that. help out some. I know a lot of you all are in support of that, so we'll do that. Whether it sells for $20 or $300, it doesn't matter. Anything, not pay the shipping and packaging and all that kind of stuff, but whatever we can do that's good. It's good. We need to do more of that in the shooting industry. Really, you think about it, and a lot of people do. But as shooters, as shooting enthusiasts, firearms enthusiasts, partly because there's still that big chunk of folks out there that think shooters are crazy, that wonder why anybody would want a firearm. It's kind of like the people that ride motorcycles. There's just this image thing. There's a real parallel there. It's just everybody that has a motorcycle is a Hells Angels member. Or everybody's got a firearm. It's just a short fuse ready to go off or something. It's just it's just a lot of non-thinking people out there in the world, and whatever we can do to help with that is good, of course. So anyway, I'll shut up and quit rambling, and I hope you all have a great week, get a chance to shoot, and look at some videos maybe. Anybody's videos. Keep the fever, and we'll talk to you later. You've been listening to the Hickok45 radio show. See you on the range.